Okay, so for this assignment, what we're going to do is create a series of squares where each square um, is going to describe a different type of texture. So you should print out a texture, look at something, have some sort of reference in order to be able to make your life easier and try to replicate that texture as best as you can. We're going to be using, for one set, we'll be using 6H pencils. So these are graphite pencils. Graphite pencils tend to have a harder lead. When you put the pencil down, it has a bit of a sheen to it. So we're going to use three different grades of it. We're going to use a 6H, which is a hard lead. We're going to use a 2B, which is a medium lead, and a 6B, which is a soft lead. And we're going to do the same thing with when we get to charcoal. So charcoal also functions in the same way. One thing to note is that the brand doesn't really matter so long as the medium is what it says it is. And you'll find out the difference between the two as soon as you start utilizing these materials. So these 15 compositions, essentially, you need to set them up in a specific way so that they look presentable. So the first thing we're going to do is take out our 6H pencil. So it's going to be the hardest lead. And we need to create 15 boxes. Each box should be 2 inches by 2 inches. So we have an 11 by 14 inch pad of paper. So we have 11 inches vertically. We need 6 inches total for the 3 boxes that are going to be the 3 rows, right? So we have a row here, a row here, and a row here. And then we're going to need 5 columns, right? So those are the vertical ones. So on row 1, we're going to do a set with one medium. On row 2, we'll do another set, different medium. And then row 3, a different medium. That way you can see the difference between how each of these different media interact with the paper, with the surface, and how it is that you can manipulate each one. So first off, I'm going to section this off. So since we have 6 inches and we are working with 11 inches, in order to make it look a little bit more appealing, what I'm going to do is give an inch at the top. So I'm going to make a little mark, a little tick mark here with my 6H pencil, and that'll give me 1 inch. The next measurement will be 2 inches. So it'll be 2 inches down from there. And then for the gutter, so the space in between each of the rows is going to be ½ an inch, right? So then I'm going to go 2 inches down again, and then ½ an inch, and then 2 more inches, and then whatever's remaining will be fine. So then I'm just going to mimic the same thing, the same measurements on this other side, on the opposite side, to make sure that I have pretty much straight lines. So go 1 inch, and then we'll move that down, go to 2 inches, leave a ½ inch in between for the gutter, then another 2 inches, ½ inch for the gutter, and last 2 inches. Then connect these lines. All right, eventually I'll clean this up by erasing some of these lines if I don't want them. It is not necessary that you do that. It's good presentation to do it, but it's not necessary. But if it helps you sort of keep track of what you're doing, this is a really good thing to just do, especially with a really light pencil. So you don't want to push really hard with this pencil. You want to keep things really light and quick. And now we have our 3 rows, right? Now we got to create those columns. So same sort of idea. We have 14 inches roughly. This paper is a little bit less than 14 inches. So I'm going to start on this side. And on the top line, I'm going to mark 1 inch in, 2 inches, ½ inch, 2 inches, ½ inch, 2, and then our last box. will be 2 inches. I mean, last square will be 2 inches. So if I mimic the same, I might end up with a little bit less than an inch here, just because the paper itself in this brand of paper, it isn't a full 14 inches. It's a little bit less than that. So I'm gonna go with that 1 inch, and then 2 inches again, half. I can just do the math that way. I like to shift things over a little bit so I have a whole number, and then that way I don't get confused. Instead of having those halves and so on. And then my last two. And then just the same as the previous time. Vertical lines. So you can close them or you can keep them open, meaning you can start here, stop there, start here, stop there, or you can just go all the way through. And once we're done with this, you'll essentially have your 15 boxes quickly laid out so that you can begin to do the actual project. Now this measuring is a good exercise to do, since we're going to be getting into perspective, and when we get into perspective we're going to be using the ruler. We're going to be making lines, and we're going to be making really light lines to describe some areas. And those areas will be construction lines, and then we'll then be using the same tools to make things more specific. And when you have really light lines, they can easily be erased. When you have really dark lines, you have a heavy hand, it gives you a lot more work to get rid of those lines. And with this last line, we are done with this. We can begin the next part, which will be selecting what's going to happen in each one of these.